I do not often post on for driving videos on this particular channel. I saved that from my other channel, but I thought I wanted to make a real quick one here. I wanted to talk about this newest unfortunate shooting that's going on, or that just occurred a couple of hours ago in Minneapolis, in which a man was seen wrestled to the ground, and then somehow we hear one shot, and then you see all the agents back off of him, and then one agent is seen, firing multiple rounds at him. I wanted to comment on that because it displays a lot, and let me get to it here really, really quickly. It displays a lack of training. These individuals, and that's a complete law enforcement problem, where there is a lack of training and lack of what to do when someone is shot. The mandate to render first aid was not applied, obviously, and multiple agents can't take one person into custody. There's still a lot of evolving details that he may have had a gun. So again, you got to be very careful. He, being the person who was shot, may have had a gun. So you got to be very careful in evaluating this type of situation. I always like to wait a little bit before weighing in, because I don't know whether it was justified or not. Now, if there is a full and fledged investigation, that should tell everyone something. That if they investigate this, they being the FBI or some other branch of government who has the professional skills and the neutrality to do so, and then if they investigate this but don't investigate Renee Goods killing, that ought to be telling as well. So listen, we got to keep and finally what I want to end this off with is, we got to keep our heads about us. We got to keep our wits about us. We got to keep our heads about us and our wits about us. The reason that they are ramping up and videotaping themselves and putting these messages on different social media platforms, and I'm talking about they being Department of Homeland Security and the administration, is doing that is because they want this type of actions. They are not saddened by it. They're not restrained by it. They're not concerned about what you think, what I think. They're not concerned about any of that. They're not concerned about any of that. So what they want is to invoke the Insurrection Act. They want people to act crazily. They want people to act out of character, and they want mobs in the streets. So therefore they can enact the Insurrection Act. It is something I am actually looking into, doing a show about that. What is it? When can it be applied? I just want to drop this real quick to say to you, this is what they want. Don't give them what they want as far as insurrections and riots in the streets and all kind of clamping down on free speech and postings and all kind of disturbing things that I've seen come across my social media page. Got to keep your heads about you and your wits about you, and understand how to protest, how to do it smart. Prod your representatives to do the right thing, and it's my understanding that they just signed into practice or into bill or into law more funding, I should say, for ICE agents. So these Democrats, 7 of them, I understand, acquiesced to the will of the Republicans, who are going along with this type of measures. And I'm sure that they're going to say, well, if we give them more funding and we can provide for them more training, we can get more people hired in the street, and take those officers who are on the street, take them back home, get them to training, and get them fixed. I almost guarantee that would be their rationale if you would ask them why they voted for it. Some people think that ICE is too far gone. And I certainly am not in the camp of completely defunding, but some of these people need to be taken off the streets, given psychological evaluations. They need to have their backgrounds run fully and thoroughly. If you're not aware, there was a story by a young lady who posted her ideas. Excuse me, she posted how inept the hiring process was for ICE agents. She didn't finish filling out the background. I don't even think she finished the application. And they called her up and said, "Welcome to ICE," or however they worded it in her letter or whatever. So it was on Democracy Now! If anybody wants to check that out. I think it's also on Slate. Her actual, the lady's actual article is on Slate, so you can go over there and read that. So listen, this is I mean, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an administration who doesn't care. We're dealing with an administration who believes in might makes right. When they talk about the, annexing Greenland, annexing Venezuela, or whatever they're trying to do with that. Stephen Miller, this guy in the White House, is talking about, who's going to stop us. The United States has plenty of authority, and we should be able to control the Western Hemisphere. That type of thinking trickles down into law enforcement. That type of thinking trickles down into the politicians. And so this is how dictatorships and things like that form, when no one is there to check them, no one's there to stop them, right? So you have to stop individuals like that. And right now, it seems as if our Congress is bought and paid for. It seems as if our judicial system is completely, particularly the higher courts. The lower courts have been holding the Trump administration liable, holding them, been restraining them in their tactics. But now, we're in a different place, in a different time here. And, we got to come up with different ideas about how we're going to organize in order to stop these individuals. And again, we got to be very careful as we run up into the midterm elections, because they want to invoke the Insurrection Act. They want to invoke that. When this man talks about maybe not having an election, he's not joking about that. He's not joking about that. If you haven't figured that out by now, he throws it out there and just sees what happens. He's not joking about that. He's also not joking. Let me put it this way. I would not be surprised if he tries to run again in 2028. But I definitely think they're going to try to pull some shenanigans with the 2026 midterm elections. So, and also, listen, you got to hold your own Democratic people in charge accountable. And if these people are not voting the way that you want them to, as a district and as a community, they're there to impose your will, not their will, not the donor's will, but your will as a community activist or community member, community taxpayer. And if they're not doing that, then you need to primary them and get them out of office and put someone in there who understands the assignment. And these people clearly don't understand the assignment. So I made this long enough. I just wanted to drop this real quick on my platform. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. And if you are organizing, tell us, let's keep the conversation going about how we're going to fight against this type of madness. I probably will do a longer breakdown of what happened in Minneapolis once we get more details. Again, if you're out there carrying without license or in a place you shouldn't be and all this other type of stuff, the first thing you have to do is keep your mouth shut and be in the right. If you're out there fighting with police and fighting with other individuals, fighting with individuals, then this is going to make defense of you and the entire movement against what this administration is doing extremely tough. So don't fight with them. And I understand people want to exert their rights and all that, but we got to be smart about this, because these people are poorly trained. These ICE agents are poorly trained. They're poorly trained thugs with complete autonomy, no responsibility, no accountability. The courts won't hold them accountable, and then of course they can't hold them accountable if there's not going to be an investigation. If the word from the top is no investigation, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? We got to figure out this all out. I do get a lot of emails about different people who are doing something, and there's people who are FOIing, that means freedom of information, ICE agents, and they want to know who they are and everything else. So there's a lot of work being done that people don't seem to be done. It takes time to get this stuff out into the open, but there is a lot of people who are speaking up, a lot of lawyers who are doing some work, and some politicians are doing some things. We got to let it take its course. But you, in the meantime, got to be smart out in the street. Be smart out there. Be smart out there, and don't give them a reason. Don't give them a reason. This is one thing that black folks always learned, right? We always learned. We always had talks with our kids and conversations with them. And we always said, when you're dealing with the police, don't ever give them a reason. So here's my message for you today. Don't give them a reason.